This is fine. It's fine. It's cool. What is up, guys? My name is... Fuck, dude. What is up, guys? My name is Taylor Carnell. Today I'm going to be breaking down Splits, my first ever mixtape, which was fully remixed by the beat tape created by Logic, which is called Peanuts. So first, I'm gonna go ahead and break down the process and what we did. The entire mixtape is based off of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Are we recording?
Yes. So every single song represents a specific scene within the movie.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your votes today. Good job. See you tomorrow.
Yep. So every single song represents a scene within the movie. So we were really heavily inspired by that, and that's because two songs within the mixtape, The Linoleus Rick.
What the fuck happened?
And What's So Funny,
We get into a fight, I accidentally kill you. I go to jail.
already had samples from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so we ran with that. Name Splits comes from a term which is from peanuts. So another form of a peanut that you buy at the store is called splits. Those are the separated from the shell, and they're cut in half. They're split. That's why we called it splits. It's really lame and super corny, but we rolled with it. Splits was initially a goodbye letter to trying to be a spitting image of Logic. People called me a Logic wannabe, a Logic impersonator.
He's just another Logic fanboy that thinks they can spit.
Like, I get a lot of people tell me I sound like Logic, and at first I did. I wanted to sound like Logic. I wanted to sound like my idol. I was trying to make stuff in the spitting image of him.
It's official, old buddy. It has been.
What are you talking about? What did that guy tell you?
Told me the goddamn truth.
To me, this project is the goodbye letter to that. I had mixed my own personality in with Logic's production to create this project. So the main idea of this entire mixtape is to say goodbye to the wannabe Logic era of Taylor Carnell.
I know how to take this is great. I love myself and I know what I become. I can't even describe the shit that I've done, been through.
Before this project, I had remixed Vinyl Days, which was a little EP. We called it Final Days. And a lot of the tracks and a lot of the sounds sounded very much similar to Logic and the songs that he had put on Vinyl Days. I realized that it was a fun project. It was very well done. But that is when I started figuring myself out. So we built up from that idea and we created Splits.
Do you mind playing one of your songs for us and going into detail on what you were thinking about while you were making it and why you took that from Logic?
Who are you?
You can call me Marabella.
What's Marabella what?
Marabella Lancet.
What's your real name?
When we're on set, I prefer to only be referred to by my character's name. It helps me invest in the reality of the story. I've tried both ways, and I'm always just a tiny bit better when I don't break character. If I can be a tiny bit better, I want to.
So one of the most meaningful songs within the mixtape, it's called Just Drink 3. It is essentially my come up and my inspiration from Logic. So this song is like my backstory. There's a lot of key points. So this song takes you within a journey of my childhood growing up from middle school up to now to this point. Back when I was a kid, I would ride the bus and listen to Logic songs. That's how I got into Logic. The first album that I had ever listened to fully in all of the first ever album that I've ever listened to all the way through was The Incredible True Story. So my first Logic album and my first ever album listening all the way through. This song dives into me as a kid growing up, seeing this vision that Logic gave me. I instantly attached to Logic's view and his vision through the message that he was spreading through his music. That was the biggest thing for me. That was what I loved so much about it. I've always known, as a kid, growing up, I wanted to do music, but I didn't know how I wanted to do it, how I wanted to execute it, what career would I follow through that, and eventually I decided that making music was the best option.
Vision that he
My music taste was terrible. I only listened to Logic and 21 Pilots. Those are the only two artists that I'd ever listened to. So that's why I was such a spitting image of Logic, because I hadn't heard a lot more sounds. As I started becoming an artist, I started listening to new things, getting into the local scene, opened my eyes to a lot of different genres, and that is how I became here today, making new sounds, new music, being more experimental, and putting more effort into my songs.
I go to jail.
Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter. And I think all that lethal weapon horseshit is just an excuse so you dancers never have to get in a real fight.
Call this album your goodbye letter to Logic, but with your new style, are you still trying to attract Logic's attention, or has all of that gone out of the window?
So a part of me wants to get Logic's attention, obviously, but I'm done chasing it. After this album, I just kind of accepted that it is what it is. And if I do ever make it in the future, I wouldn't want to talk to Logic and be like, hey, yo, so I was that one kid that just kept shouting you out every single day and kept trying to get your attention, because that would be cringy. And I wanted to stay away from that. So once I just realized what I was doing, I took a step back, and now I'm not chasing after Logic's attention. I just let stuff happen as is. So this album really did take off a lot of stress that I had
Did I
built
say
up
something
in
funny,
that moment.
stuntman?
Yeah, you kind of did.
What's so funny? But I'm not saying anything funny. So what do you think is so funny?
Now, vice versa, if Logic came up to you and asked about your stuff, would you mention all that?
Yes, I think that a lot of that is a big building point in my career as an artist. I think that like projects that I did do that sounded a lot like Logic at the time were very big milestones in the skill that I gained throughout the past year. Final Days it came out of nowhere, and my skill had jumped very quick through just that project alone. I think that's impressive, in my personal opinion. That's something that I would showcase. So I would show Logic that stuff. I might leave out some of the obsessive details, though.
So, currently right now, you have a huge project coming up with a new performance at Duffy's, correct?
Yeah.
With that new album, has there been any inspiration from Logic, or have you created everything yourself?
This album was inspired by Logic, but it was also inspired by other artists and other styles as well. I've gotten into Frank Ocean. I've gotten into Mac DeMarco. I've gotten into Wu-Tang more. I've gotten into so many different genres of music. And this upcoming album that I'm working on right now is me mixing all of my favorite genres into one and having sounds from everything, from orchestras to pop to hip-hop to trap. Everything just mixed in one and blended in as well as that I can do. So I want to create something different and out of the box.
Hello, rap lovers. This is 105.9 The Rapper, and today we have a very special guest with us. This is the alter ego of Taylor Carnell, TC.
My final question. Where would you rate Splits upon your ranking of your albums?
Splits is probably top 3. I'm gonna say number 2 as of right now, but as I progress, it'll probably go down. The reason being is because the creativity behind Splits, you basically watching a movie as you're listening to a full mixtape.
Why can't I cuss? Security, why does everybody else this guy out? You know what? Why can't I cuss? I just really want to cuss the song, guys.
Thank you for the introduction. Spitting flows all the time like it's
And that is a really cool concept. It's like a lot of the best artists, when they make mixtapes, they sound like albums because of the consistency. And we wanted to create that feeling of consistency, but also the messiness of a mixtape. And I think that it blends in very well. If you haven't checked it out yet, I suggest you go ahead and check it out. And fucking lost my train of thought so quick. My brain just fucking died right then and there. Go ahead and check out Splits on YouTube and SoundCloud. I would recommend watching it on YouTube because you get to see the visuals and the creative side through the visuals. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Reflections is coming out March 31st. Be sure to tune in. That is my indie album. Have a good day, guys.
Fucking minion. Think for yourself, bitch. This is your decision. You can also stop the hate. I stopped, and now I live fucking great. You make your own problems, homie, so don't complain when you can't solve them, homie.